Okay, so I'm answering the question about why GI Bill recipients are misled and end up with student loan debt when they go to an in-state public university and have benefits. So that's a question where clearly maybe the person you've observed someone that's been in that situation. It's not everyone that's in that situation. Tell you is that the GI Bill is notoriously constantly changing because the lawmakers, who are quite a few lawyers sitting up there in Congress, just make up rules and then just change things on a whim. Some of the changes they make are because they're trying to basically save money off the backs of veterans. Other changes are made because they think that they need to do so for recruiting purposes because the recruitment's down. That's basically what drives most of the decision making I've noticed about veteran spending. And the reality is that they don't want to pay for the military that they have, the humans that are in it, or their family members at all. They want to get away with doing as little as possible. Most of the money goes to the contractors. So back to the GI Bill question, this really just has to do with um, just willy nilly making changes. So right now, like for example, if you go to online, you're going to lose part of the housing allowance right now, is the way it's set up last I checked. Whereas if you go in person, you have to go in person full time to get the maximum housing allowance. So you'll have money to house yourself essentially. And that housing allowance, it really doesn't cover all your housing, not by a long shot. It's just going to help out with some different housing things. Now, you cannot, and this is not me giving out any advice at all, but based upon my own experiences, I was unable to go to any kind of elite Ivy League private school of any kind. Not only does the GI Bill not fund that level of school, but also they're not required, the Ivy League schools or elite private institutions, to cover the difference. If they choose to, they do. Most of them don't. There's a thing called yellow ribbon. That's just some very misleading thing and widely misunderstood, but most of them don't. I was accepted into an elite private institution, which I'm not going to name. I covered that in a different video a long time ago, and it was actually on the college admissions scandal list. It was featured heavily in the news and in films about it. I was accepted. I was unable to go because the GI Bill had just been changed and would not cover it, and the school would not pay the difference. Quite the opposite. So I would have gone into severe mountainous levels of debt to go to that school. So I ended up going to a public university. I did get the same degree, but what I didn't receive, and this is what's big about these schools, is the connections, the network, the privilege that comes from some of these going to some of these schools. Some you may get extra perks in your education, you may not. But certainly I wasn't able to obtain any of that. So I always laugh when I hear the GI Bill being espoused by recruiters as this big, huge marketing thing. Free, your school's fully paid for, blah, blah, blah. That's highly debatable. And depending upon what you want to do with the rest of your life and a career, it may be darn near useless, depending upon what you want to do. If a person is looking at, certain career path that requires certain things, it's may not be the best path. For me, if I do over again, I never would join the military. That's just a fact. That GI Bill would not have been any kind of incentive knowing everything I know. And it really wasn't. That wasn't why I joined. So the GI Bill as it exists now, the post 9/11 GI Bill, did not exist when I was being recruited into the military. It became a thing and was implemented by legislators years later after I joined. So to answer your question in short, some people may feel misled or may not feel misled about the GI Bill. It's very convoluted and it's constantly changing. So it's very easy for many people not to really fully understand the GI Bill and what they're eligible for and what they're not eligible for. The question that this came from was from a video about the multi-year, almost decades-long fight about a GI Bill discrepancy with a veteran who wanted to go to an Ivy League. I think it was Yale, if I'm not mistaken, school. Could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's Ivy League school. I think it was Yale. Could be wrong. Anyways, and wasn't able to because of some GI Bill issue discrepancies. And so he is being represented, to the best of my knowledge, by a military veteran pro bono in I think must be a sizable law firm, and they're taking it out all the way to the Supreme Court. And God bless them. I hope Godspeed. I hope it all works out. But dealing with the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, dealing with the federal government is just typically a nightmare for many people that have to deal with it. And this GI Bill thing is just one more thing. But, about the GI Bill, it's just like one more example about how Congress is eager to bait and switch people. And so there's a lot of baiting and switching that goes on with these benefits and different things, and so on and so forth. So hopefully that answers your question. It's definitely a convoluted topic. All right, bye.